dragons. 2 of them were sick, and 1 is still trying to find parking. Relatable. So yeah. Yeah, I tried to get one of those secured for him. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out. And then I tried to cast Fly, realized couldn't do it. Much as I tried.
You were out of spell slots.
Huh?
You were out of spell slots.
Yes, I was out of spell slots. I am very tired. I only got like 2 hours of sleep. I didn't get a long rest.
It's okay, we're going off the vibes. We're going off the vibes, and what did you have to eat?
I had chicken tenders.
Chicken tenders, all right.
Chicken tendies.
I had a breakfast burger from
I got the tendies from down here in the cafe. The buffalo sauce ones.
They have nuggets here?
They have strips. Tendies.
Tendies.
It's nuggy adjacent. But hello everybody, we're the Smoking Dragons. We aren't your average dungeon crawlers. We are content creators on Twitch, and we have been doing panels at LA Comic-Con for the past 3 years. This is our 3rd one, so pretty awesome. We've also been content creators. As of tomorrow, officially will be 7 years. Our 7-year anniversary is tomorrow. Thank you. You really don't have to clap. I appreciate it though. It's just been a long journey. We've been doing this for a long time, and we enjoy coming to LA Comic-Con to talk about D&D. In our previous panels, we've talked about how to make D&D fun. We've talked about how to make really cool characters with cool backstories. And now we are going to talk to you about story crafting. Now, I know what you're thinking, but only the DM writes the story. Yes, that is the level 1 version. But really, who writes the story is everybody involved. It's collaborative writing. Everybody gets a piece. If it's just the DM writing, the DM might as well write a book. So if you have a DM who wants to stick too close to the story and gets really mad when you go somewhere else, that DM should probably just write a book. Just try that out. See how that works.
Always do side quests.
Side quests are always fun, especially because it's based on players. If the players want to do it, that means you should probably just let them do it, and then find a way to figure out the story going in. But we're going to talk about it from a few different perspectives. We're going to talk from the DM's perspective, how to craft a very interesting story. Yes, I'm forever DM over here. And then we're going to talk about it from a player's perspective, and how the players can have an impact on the story just as much as the DM, if not more. And then we're going to talk about working together between DM and player. But before I go any further, how many of you already know who we are? Like, from just in general?
Not all at once, please.
Yeah, I like that nobody knows who we are. That actually is very comforting. Because now I don't have to
I don't have to apologize for anything.
I don't have to worry,
Sorry in advance.
I don't have to be pressured to be like, oh, some people already know me, so I gotta act right.
We have 0 expectations.
Oh,
Okay.
that's awesome. Hey, perfect. I love all those answers. All those are very valid.
Let's introduce ourselves one by one first, since
Oh,
they
yeah,
know who we are, right?
Completely forgot about that. You just get me talking and I don't stop.
I know. That's good though.
But I'm Nova.
And I'm Crafty.
And I'm Logic. We all go by our dragon names: Nova Dragon, Crafty Dragon, and Logic Dragon. And Solar Dragon will be here as soon as he finds parking.
Yes, as soon as he finds parking, he will fashionably show up. And he is one of the other DMs that is part of the channel as well.
But not a forever DM.
Not forever DM. That's
No?
strictly my job.
Yeah.
That's strictly my job, and I will not give it away to anybody,
We just like to give you
even
a
if
tough
I
time,
wanted
that's
to.
it. We like to give you a tough time.
I appreciate it. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and dive into it. So with the DM's perspective in crafting a story, what you really want to do as you start out is you want to have a good outline. You want to have a good outline. You don't want to plan every single thing down to the T, because then that's how you get angry when the stuff doesn't happen. If you don't plan it, then it's not as bad. And I know that makes it sound like you're just winging it, because kind of. You kind of are. That's the best kind of DMing, is when you kind of wing it.
Like Cliff Notes.
Yeah, you write bullet points of what you think should happen in a session, and like when it comes to world building is a whole other topic. Maybe we'll do another panel next year about world building completely. But with story crafting, you want to have a beginning, you want to have a middle, you want to have an end. You want to have an idea where the story is going to start. You want to have an idea where there's going to be some kind of conflict, and then you want to see where it ends up, where you want it to go. Now, whether it stays on that trajectory is not up to you. It is up to your players.
Sometimes you won't even have you're like, wow, I didn't expect them to do this at all. I have no plan for this. All right, we're winging it.
Exactly. The best way to be able to really get into DMing is take improv classes. Improv classes are a great tool, and they allow you to adapt to different things that can happen while DMing. I've had things where randomly someone will just want to focus on a single character that I had just kind of just shit out of my brain, and it's just like, this is Boblin the Goblin. And it's just like everybody wants to now talk to Boblin the Goblin.
I'm the kind of player that will always ask, what's that NPC's name? And he'll be like...
And you know the secret to always having a name? Fantasy name generators. That is a perfect tool. And you don't have to use the ones that they give you. You can combine names. You also have the ability to do that. It's really cool. I do it all the time. And I write a list of names down. So just in case she asks me, what's that NPC's name? Oh, his name is Bart. Then I just cross off okay, I've used that name, and I write a little note where I mention it, because I know she's gonna come back and want to talk to Bart again the next time they're coming through town. So I make sure I make a little note okay, this is what Bart is.
Or you're just like, I'm having a Bart. Oh, he died.
He died. Do you remember that dragon that came through? Yeah, that murdered him. He was lit on fire. Poor Bart. And then we have a funeral for Bart. And then there's all this hullabaloo about Bart, and I'm just like, man, maybe I shouldn't have killed Bart. But there was one time I came up with a character, and this was with the help of a player, whose name was Fink. Now, Fink was a rat man. He was cursed to be a rat man, and he constantly would be in cold spaces. So like refrigerators. This was Magi tech, so there's refrigerators. Yada yada yada. Some stuff you could just explain away, just it's magic. So having Fink there, he just became this random character that people wanted to interact with, and one player just wanted to murder him all the time. But he was a friend of one of the other characters. So there was all this dynamics of just this random character that was just yeah, okay, we're just gonna create this character like that. It was literally during a session, my friend was like, I want to make up a character that I have as a friend who's living in my house. And I'm like, okay. He's like, and they just said, his name is Fink, and he's a rat man. And I'm like, got it, I'll go with that. And so then I created this whole story for him right then about this rat guy who is he just likes the cold spaces, and it's because he has the tail. His tail hurts when he's not in the cold spaces. He just wants to be cold all the time. Heat? No thanks. So it's those kind of things, being able to adapt and change on the fly is going to be a significant tool you have as a DM. As a DM, that's one of those things that's going to make people remember your games. If you're able to just shift and you just go yeah, that sounds like that should happen. Okay, let's go for it. Let's do it. And you just yes and. It's a lot of yes and. And obviously, the dice will tell you certain things. The dice help you tell the story. So even if you have this perfect outline, the dice will tell you a different story. And then you have to adapt to what the dice say. It's just oh, they're gonna go against the big bad, and they're gonna strike him down. But what if they lose? What if they lose? You have to have some sort of plan if they lose, because the dice can be a cruel mistress, very cruel, especially when your DM is constantly rolling nat 20s against you and just I'm sorry.
Change your die. Use a
That
different
hardly
one.
works for some people.
I know, he's oh, that's a 20 again.
Honestly, if I'm rolling 20s, I'm just happy that I'm still rolling 20s.
I like
Because whenever I'm a player, I roll really bad.
Yeah, that's true. This can also go into hooking players. too. Hooking them and adapting to changes is kind of what we're talking about now. So
Yeah,
yeah.
hooking a player, you want to be able to figure out what their interests are and be able to use that and hook. You want to be able to tantalize them. You want to give them the good stuff, you know? Something that's going to get them to pull the way that you want in the story. And if you find that something is not pulling in the way you want, change it up. If instead of just beating your head against a brick wall trying to get through and you're not gonna, you're just gonna end up with a headache. So you just switch it up and you go around the wall and you find a different path. So that's the way with hooking. If you feel like, oh, this is the greatest hook, this is gonna do so good, everybody's gonna love it, and then you try it and then it's like, nobody bites. You're just like, well, okay, I have to change some things. So what a good tool is, write down several hooks, write down several things that you think like, oh, maybe they'll go for this, but if they don't go for this, maybe they'll go for this. You know, and it also just depends on what kind of campaign you want to tell. If you want to tell like your traditional high fantasy Lord of the Rings type stuff, you know, doom and gloom is always good, always a good motivator. You know, the world is terrible because Mr. Big evil guy has got this staff and he wants to kill people. And he wants to kill you, and it's like, oh, he wants to kill me. Well, I don't want to be killed. So that's pretty you know, motivating for me to want to kill that guy, because I don't want to be killed. So it's all about knowing your players, and if you're playing with people you don't know, good luck.
But that also kind of goes into communicating too. Even if you don't know these players, there's a lot of people do play with maybe people they don't know, or I've seen people play D&D online and stuff like that with kind of random people. Try to just ask them, talk to them. What do you guys like? Also, like, what don't you like? What do you want to avoid? Stuff like that. This whole overarching theme of everything is also going to be communication. Communication is so important in D&D, and like the number one thing, in my opinion, I think is what's most important.
It's literally the number one thing that we say at every single one of our panels is communication. That's literally the only way that you know, get things done is by talking to people. It's a really strange concept.
Or like if someone isn't really acting or doing anything in the campaign, you know, another character, another player can be like, hey, well, me and this person are gonna go over here. That way it can like communicate there and have that other player.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, introducing like if somebody's not role playing as much, another player, which is also your job, not just the DM's job. The DM has a lot of things already on their plate, but another player can be like, hey, you want to go like commit a crime, or hey, you want to go cast fireball in a tavern,
Done that.
or hey, you want to go steal from the mayor's house. Like, getting them involved and talking to them in character is a good way to get people to role play and then contribute to the greater story. Because everything that a player does is contributing to the greater story. It's all contributing to the greater story that's being told. Because the things that as a DM that your players are going to remember is not anything really that you do.
No.
They're not going to remember like, wow, that was a really great story hook, or wow, he really built that encounter well. They're gonna remember all the stuff that they did with their characters and what they did with the other party members. The DM is just the DM is a thankless job that gets shoved to the side, and it's just like, thanks for allowing us to do this. By the way, my favorite moment was when I jumped like 500 feet in the air, did like 8 backflips, and I stabbed the big bad evil guy right in the head and killed him. Oh, that was awesome. It was just like, yeah, what about the mystery and intrigue that I led up to all that? And it's like, yeah, that was fine. It's like, yeah, all right, that's what I thought. So you want to make sure as a DM to have your players have the most fun that they can while also encouraging them to contribute to the greater story. Yes? This is an open thing. Like, we have Q&A on here as a thing, and it's just like, you know, we're just loosey-goosey about it. So what's your question?
Well, I run a campaign and I've had some high-level characters, and I always get really nervous when I get close to what I have to teleport.
How do you handle teleport as a story arc?
Yeah.
Okay. With being able to go literally anywhere what you want to do is you want to make sure the world is living and breathing. So you give them a mission of that you want them to do, and there's the story that's happening. And if they don't go do it, punish the inaction. Not necessarily like take stuff away from them, but like if they were the only ones that were going to be able to stop whatever evil was happening in that area because they wanted to go teleport somewhere else and have fun, make them feel it. Like if they have NPCs that they care about, particularly parents are really good to kill from characters. They're really good story motivators. No offense to actual parents out there, but
Any
I
family,
mean,
relative.
that should be a compliment. There's like an emotional weight there, and it really hits hard when you take away a piece.
It's
of
always
parents.
interesting. Go ahead, go
See
ahead.
how successful Disney is? They do it all the time.
Disney does it all the time? Absolutely correct.
Exactly.
Oh, we're gonna get a cease and desist. We talked about Disney.
Just say
Nice
it.
Nick.
Just it.
Sure.
It.
Igni, that's
Just
fire
bleep
spell.
that out. We'll bleep the Disney.
Mikey,
But no, like when you have characters that can literally go anywhere, like I said, punish their inaction by taking away something that they care about. In the sense of like something that is important to their story, make them feel the consequences of those actions. It may not necessarily like have them like, oh, you lose items or that or stuff like that, but like a city could just be burnt to the ground and like it was a favorite place of theirs to go, and it's like, well, you didn't go stop that, and you were the only ones who were able to, because you're the only high-level characters around here, and you decided to go teleport off to the other side of the world and go like have a party or something. Meanwhile, there's stuff going on over here. Yes? How do you hook them? You have to make sure you figure out what it is that is pulling them to that place. And even so, if you want them to go somewhere else and they just don't want to go that way, move the conflict to where they want to go. Change that conflict, because as a DM, you have that power. You're able to be like, you know what? Yeah, that thing that you let happen over there, it's going to happen to your favorite place that you want to go now. You take away their favorite place, and then you will force them into action. And even still, if they just don't care, then that's a whole different topic. That's a different story, and that's where you might need a new group. Because not every group is for everybody. I'm sure we've all read horror stories. There's quite a few really interesting people out there that have opinions and do things. I won't go any further than that because it gets really weird. Yes?
Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
I have a question. Spoiler alert. I have a huge fight scene that I want to use as a practice game.
Spoilers.
I know.
It's okay.
It's horrible, but I had to do it.
It's okay.
There are two big bads. There's two of them. There's one dragon who wants to kill everything and one dragon who wants to create a lot. And they are having a big fight over who wants to kill all the other dragons because they suck. I want the players to get them to start this fight. So they, as the players, can play as the two dragons with the statues and actually duke it out and let the story start from there.
So you're turning the dragons into like megazords?
I have no idea what that is for sure.
That sounds awesome.
I guess it's kind of like the Monster Hunter moment, but you are the dragons. You don't just spur one into the other's direction. No, they literally get into a bickering fight, and the players have to go, hey, yo, this one's cooler than you because you suck, and the other player has to go, no, this one and that. And the dragons start bickering. And then once I think they get to the right level, I want to give them the sheets of their favorite dragon and put them in teams so they fight as a unison as the two big bads.
Oh, so you wanna split the party on opposite sides and have them fight each other?
Yes.
Whoa. Whoa.
Yes. One has minions and one has unlimited power itself.
Oh my god. That's genius.
Yes.
I mean I try to get people to fight all the time.
You don't have to do that. We
But
do
actually, I
that.
don't really have to try that hard. Hey, there he is, Solar Dragon, everybody. He's here. He's found parking.
I think he went to Lot C. Did you get a Lot C?
No, somebody bought it out for employees only.
Oh.
But no, it's the Venice lot, if that's what you're wondering.
Oh.
Speaking of players that always bicker.
Those two, they are a couple, and they always bicker. Logic always hates any character that Solar has.
I don't know why.
Doesn't
It
matter
just
what
happens
it
to
is.
be the characters we create.
It's nothing I'm doing. It's all
So-
I plead the fifth.
So okay, so we just got the question about we want to split the party and have them fight each other while controlling dragons, and you're asking how do we get them to do that?
Yes, because I want them to take the perspective and like the character of the BBEG so like if one dragon dies, the story will go into that direction. If the other dies, it will go.
Oh, so it's like picking a route.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like taking routes.
It's the genocide or pacifist route in Undertale. You gotta pick
Okay.
Okay.
and you gotta pick which battle you are gonna fight.
So you're trying to get them to that point.
I'm trying to get into that point. I've got a little extras like side quests, throw in a little mystery here, a little danger there. But I need them. I'm trying to find a way to harness the idea in my very, very dumb local players that they have to get the dragons to fight.
Maybe dangling a reward or something.
Yeah,
Dangling a reward is good.
Like a really good reward, like
the reward and maybe an outcome, kind of give them like, oh, this is what happens in this dragon room, this is what happens in that dragon room. It's kind of like throw that out there to be like, hey, if these fight, something will happen between the two, but you don't know until they fight and see what happens.
Sometimes you do have to spell it out. As a DM, you do have to spell it out sometimes. Like if they're just not getting it, and you just go like, hey, you just go right. That's the way. Just so you know, that's where I'm trying to get you to go.
Yeah. I mean, I think my first thought would be try to make it a morally ambiguous choice so that neither side is right or wrong.
Yeah, that was the original goal because I just kind of want them to fight the dragons.
Dragons are awesome.
Yeah.
That's why we have them on our shirts.
We always play halflings or why not do scaly things? So,
Love big dragons.
So the problem is I'm also really young, but not as well.
I don't think that that's true.
I want it to be a mystery as to who these dragons are. So one of the spawn creatures in the Icons the other shapeshift into whoever.
You know what's also a really good tool for a DM to have? Lying. Just lie to your players. Have your NPCs lie to them. Just lie to them.
Well, one of the dragons plays as the NPC. And then he's like, well, I don't like this kill, and then goes into the place as the NPC.
Well, it sounds like you've got a pretty good idea so far. It's all sounding really good. It just sometimes you have to spell it out. If it comes down to it, I know it sucks that you don't have like a really awesome reveal. It's not always going to be like that. That's it. See, that's the goal. That's what you want.
Yeah.
And I think if you get there, that's
I would just play and try to see if your players will make that decision. I mean, you know, I don't know if you said it already, but it's like you don't always have control. Like, you know, it's not you just telling them the story. You're playing a game, so maybe you have right. You might have an idea you want to happen, but there is zero possibility that it could happen because your players are just like, Boblin is my friend. If anything happens to him, I'll kill everyone and then myself.
I think that's my new way to refer to as Dungeons and Dragons as dices and dumbasses. I think that's my new favorite way. I think I'm gonna start calling it that now. That's awesome. So in dices and dumbasses, when you want to, as a DM, it's really difficult in this instance. When you have a player who is like your star player. Does anybody have a star player? Raise your hand. You shouldn't. Sorry, I didn't mean to yell at you. No, No, because every party is going to have that player that really just excels over everybody else. Everybody else could also be good, but there's that one player that's going to excel. Do not favorite that player. You can give them stuff, but don't play favorites. As soon as you play favorites, as soon as any of the other players can sniff it out, you ruin the group dynamic. You instantly ruin it.
Yeah, then we end up just like having beef with the other players. They're like, wow, you get everything. I don't get anything. But really, that's the GM's job.
It's the
to
DM.
avoid that.
If they play favorites and the players sniff it out, that means the player who's literally not doing anything wrong is going to take all the flack for it, and then the players are going to be mad at that player and the DM, and it's just going to ruin the whole player dynamic. And you might as well just part the group and just like, all right, that we tried, good game. GG's.
Yeah, so that with playing favorites, I think it's also like important to make notes of things too. Okay, what am I giving this player? What have they done? Have they had their arc? Did they get a legendary? Like, and then kind of like take, you're like, okay, this person's kind of due for something. So I think it's also good that taking notes is super important as a DM, just to keep track of everything. I'm personally not a note taker, even as a player. I just kind of write the important things down and I just go from there. But I mean, I feel like as a DM, it's definitely more important.
Yeah, you definitely have to take notes, even if it's like a weird type of note-taking style that only you understand. That's the only person who's reading your notes, is you. So you take the notes. For me, there are some people who can write pages and pages and pages of notes of all this stuff. Meanwhile, I keep most of the stuff in my head and I write down bullet points. And I go, yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, that sounds right.
I'm the note taker.
But I also have ADHD, so that's my curse, my cross to bear. You're welcome.
How do you reward good player behavior without getting to favoritism?
How do you reward good player behavior without getting to favoritism? It's one of those things that's very slippery. You just in the moment that it happens, you say that's awesome, and you don't always have to give them like an item or anything. You just go, here's a point of inspiration. Have some inspiration. You get advantage on whatever you choose, pretty much. That's always a good way to reward good player behavior, and it's not considered favoritism. Because if you start showering them with magical items, then people are gonna be like, I didn't get that. Why does he have a flying carpet and I don't? Why does he get a staff of fireballs and I don't?
The funniest thing about inspiration is that they can still fuck up with those too.
Yes!
Or
Yes.
Free ammo for you.
my favorite, completely forget they have inspiration until 3 sessions later, and they're like, did I use that? I'm gonna use it now.
Yeah.
Don't stop me.
I saw you raise your hand.
Yeah.
You know, for our monkey brains, that would work. That would work for me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
If somebody pushed a button when
that was easy button.
if somebody pushed a button every time I did something good, that the Pavlovian just
Yeah,
be
just
like,
jingle
that's
a little bell,
awesome.
just like, yeah, I'm on the right track. Nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think like rewards the whole party can use is also good, because then everyone feels like they got a piece of it, but it can clearly see that it came from a player's actions, but it's something that everyone can benefit.
You got a hand back here?
So as far as like rewarding via items, one thing I had at the end recently tried was introduce what he was calling goober items, which are tangible things that you can split amongst the party, not really doing a whole lot, and almost to the point where it's like, you have so much of this crap, but which ones are actually useful, but it still feels like you're doing stuff.
Honestly, in the PHB, there's a lot of like uncommon or like basic magical items that don't really do anything, but they're great to give to your players that are like, you know, because then they feel like they got something. Like the cape of billowing, my favorite thing ever.
Love the cape of billowing.
Yeah.
Too much to our party.
Right. That's
Wait, what do we do with this?
first world problems.
I literally just gave a cape of billowing to a character about a month ago. They're standing right back there.
Yeah, I mean it's such a good item because it doesn't do anything, but it just makes them feel cool, and everyone else can be like, yeah, it's just a cape of billowing, like whatever.
If you're doing the group stuff, you can always remind them to sell the items so they can get
Get money. Yeah.
Always good. I also like giving alchemy jug because it produces so many different types of liquid,
Mayonnaise.
especially mayonnaise. I love to focus on like it can also produce mayonnaise.
And
You
then-
know how much you want
And then
that.
it makes like the sound effect. Yep.
He had his hand up on
There.
Yes, I saw your hand up. I'll get to you in a second.
What you do if middle start a campaign is your party already has all the items they would want for like a game or things for their class. How can you reward them meaningfully outside of the school?
Opportunities. Opportunities is a good way because if they already have items, if they have all the items that they want, like near the beginning of the campaign,
Give them a chance to use them.
You reward the A chances to use them, or also you reward them with reputation status. So
Yeah,
like if they do good things, people hear about it and they're just like, and as they walk down the street, hey, it's you guys! You guys are awesome!
Yeah, especially if it's like a long form campaign and they're like invested in the world that you guys have built together. Like giving them land or a castle or something that a mansion that teleports around. Things something that. That goes beyond just like an item for their group, like I said, like a home to live in, or...
They technically do have that because it's a spell campaign. They're on their second game already.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, so.
But like upgrades for the ship, and reputation is also huge. Reputation is
Yeah.
very huge. I saw your hand over there.
Yeah, what advice would you give to a first-time DM?
First time DM, communication, talk with your players. Session zeros are very important.
Mm-hmm.
Always have a session zero so that way everybody's on the same page because you don't want to get a couple ways into a couple sessions and then find out that the whole story that you wanted to tell nobody vibes with it and they actively are just like, yeah, no, this ain't for me. It wastes your time, wastes their time.
Yeah.
Session zeros are a good way to keep everybody on the same page.
Yeah.
So you let everybody know, like, hey, this is the kind of story I want to tell. Are you guys good with that? And if they go, no, not really, then you go, oh, okay. Then you either change what kind of story you want to tell, or you find another group.
Yep. And then once you get all those wrinkles out of the way, with talking ahead of time, the Discord messages, session zero, then you just gotta go for it. You just gotta play the game. There's only so much that can be done in your head ahead of time. You just have to play the game and experience it and then go like, oh, they really liked that, or like, wow, I thought that would be cool and they didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
And then you just learn from there.
Just have fun with it and like treat it like a game because that's what it is. And like when you create stuff, don't make it like, oh, I have to do this. Like I want to do this. I want to add this to the world. I wanna think about this stuff. Like, what's this village all about? Is it it has elves living in it and dwarves and they kind of work together. There's some of it in the tree and a little bit in the ground. Just start like thinking of ideas, write it down on something, and then finalize it. Just have fun with it. Like literally make whatever you want for your first ever game. Nobody is Matt Mercer but Matt Mercer. So don't think that you are.
Yeah.
Because I sure am not.
Yeah, just
I'm me
Don't,
and I'm
don't
okay with
compare
that.
yourself.
right.
Yeah,
Just
don't
have
compare
fun
yourself.
and just play the game.
As long as your
No.
players are having fun, that's the most important thing.
Well, and you're having fun too.
Right.
Don't forget about yourself. That's another.
Oh yes,
important-
of course. Yeah. You have to also have fun.
Listen, it's
Kids are allowed to play.
yeah, it's
The
no,
DMs are allowed to
Yeah,
play.
it's if you're the DM and you're not having fun, that can wear on you, and then it'll get to your players too.
Yeah,
so,
I did see your hand up over here.
yeah.
I wanted to ask, how can you compensate the magic system if you don't have any magic in the world, but you're using the D20 system?
How to compensate using magic when you don't have any magic in your world.
Like you mean to make it like interesting without having the use of magic?
For example, there are like classes that don't need magic, like necessarily like rogues and fighters, but I don't want my players to play only rogues and fighters. I want them to have an opportunity to play as a cleric, but if the world is set in like, for example, real Middle Ages, how can I compensate the cleric spells through some kind of other abilities or connections, or what do you think is going to be better to like, oh, sorry, you cannot like put a word, but you can do this and that.
Maybe don't call it magic and consider it like heightened abilities, and talk with your players if they would be okay if having the magic classes but at kind of a nerf to where they're just enhanced abilities and people are I don't know, this is the first time I've ever had this question.
Yeah,
It's actually
yeah.
very interesting kind of question. That's tough. That's a tough one. But like, yeah, no, like I would say like nerf the magic a little bit, because nothing that they fight is gonna need that powered magic like if you're going traditional Middle Ages.
Yeah.
So yeah, like scale
So-
everything back a little to like make up for that. I also think it's okay to take inspiration from other things too. Like
Inspiration can come
inspiration
from
is really
everywhere.
important. Like if you
Yeah.
can see like a TV show or an anime or something that had something similar and how they did it, it's okay to use that in your game. You just tell your own story with it. So
I know your arm has been burning. I've been calling other people because I called on you a bunch of times. So let's hear it.
Physical items are always great. It always enhance. It can only ever enhance, really. Like especially if you've got miniatures or if you,
Props.
yeah, any kind of props are always a big plus. You don't feel like you have to do that. I mean, like I said, no one's gonna build big elaborate sets for their Tuesday night D&D game with their friends. But if you can add props, it'll definitely enhance the experience for everyone.
I mean, a lot of people I like having like as a player, it'd be cool to have something tangible. Like it's not necessary,
Like
but
puzzle boxes are really cool.
Yeah,
Give them an actual puzzle to solve, like physically, rather than having to roll for it. They can have to physically solve something. That's a cool idea.
Yeah, I feel like they can only ever add.
Yeah, it only ever enhances.
Health potions with like dice in them.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
that's like a classic.
I love
yeah.
that.
Or just pass around like a bunch of code red.
Just have it on pepper.
And a Dr. Pepper.
Any question over here?
Do you have any fun ways to humble characters?
Fun ways to humble characters.
Have you humbled some of my characters? We want to talk about some specific examples. Well, not that one.
No, we're not gonna talk about that one. That
That one's not appropriate.
one's a bit
That one's not
graphic.
appropriate.
I'll do it. I think I'll do
Which
the-
one?
Let me do my example first, because this was a game that
Oh, yeah.
Nova ran, where we are children trying to be the very best that like no one ever was, and yeah, we were gonna catch them all, and so we were fighting the evil team, and we're like, yeah, we're gonna Pokemon battle, and they pulled a gun on us. We're like, oh yeah, maybe not.
We're just children. What are you doing?
Yeah,
That was one of my favorite moments.
Yeah, so it's something, a literal 90-degree right turn where just like total, like we're going this way and then you just hit them going that way with something like that can be a humble.
Yeah, I think like the consequence of your actions, because I'm not gonna do anything specific because it's way too not appropriate. No, I played a bard, right?
Oh my god.
I'm sure you
We're
can
gonna talk
imagine
about
how
Oscar.
we're not gonna talk about Oscar, my bard. But Oscar liked to mess around, and so there were consequences
was a
for those
free
actions.
spirit.
I was a free spirit.
Oscar was a free
so there's
spirit.
consequences for those actions, whether something traumatic happened to me. I won't be too specific. It was very traumatic, and then it made my character just like rethink what they were doing and the choices they were making.
Thought we
so
were
like.
gonna talk about
I'm
that.
not being specific.
You're
I'm
not
not
being
telling you exactly the
specific.
situation, but just like stuff like
all
consequences.
know.
It's really just consequences for your actions. And bards notoriously like to just be chaotic, usually.
I think if we want to get a little less like specific to our examples and more general, they probably have their favorite thing to do, like their like basically their bread and butter combo when they're like in combat or whatever. Make them do that, but it didn't work this time. It like they action surge and they hit him a bunch of times as a fighter, and the guy's just like, what you
Like,
got?
yeah, even people that use magic, you're just like, oh, you cast a spell, oh, they use counter spell, or oh, they're immune to that, or oh, like.
But you definitely don't want to overuse that.
No,
'cause
not
then they-
overuse for sure.
But you can use it as a humbling, like, oh, you try to cast Fireball in here? Yeah, that's gonna go well.
Oh, a good example of how I humbled you guys recently in one of our recent episodes of our
Yeah, exactly.
our homebrew TTRPG game. It's not D&D, but it takes from it. It's a system I created. Blah blah blah. It's in beta test. If you want to watch it, it's on YouTube. Anyways, it's called Gaia's Edge Online. It takes from like Sword Art Online. You know, anime. People like that, right? People like anime. Yeah, no, it's really cool. I like it. Really like the story. We came back to it because we finished that campaign and now we're doing it again. So I helped them recently because usually their signature go-to move on any enemy I bring up to them is they trip it, make it fall on the ground, and they beat the crap out of it until it dies. That's
we
their
brute force everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, they brute force everything, but I gave them an enemy that they literally could not damage, and they had to run. And they didn't try to brute force. One of them got choked and thrown against the wall.
Was that me?
Yes,
Yeah.
it
I
was
almost
you.
died.
I'm like,
You got choked and thrown into the wall, and you're like, we should run.
Yeah, do it
Because it
now.
dealt a ton of damage.
Yeah, a lot of damage in a little bit of time, and you're just like, let's not be here anymore.
But we actually ended up liking it. It was very Scooby-Doo. We had to go
Yeah,
through
they
a
had
bunch
to
of
go through
doors.
doors and they came out a different door. I did it because literally in communication with one of my players, he said like, I really want to do a Scooby-Doo thing. And I'm like, got it, that's in my memory bank now.
Yeah,
I'll factor that in. And
We ended up enjoying it because it was like we're running through all these doors trying to find the way out, and then the monsters coming through, and then like there's also another guy that happened to be there that almost killed
Yeah, there
us.
was two monsters.
There was two monsters. Well, one monster and
It
one guy
started
that
with
was
one
way too
and
strong.
two,
one
Yeah.
was chasing us and the other one was like in a room already, right?
Yeah, and then he
he
shot
had,
me.
he had a weapon that could instantly knock them down to death saves.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So just like, and we enjoyed it. It was fun not having to.
That's pretty much the number one, like, you shouldn't be here moment is like, oh, I'm dying. Okay, time to go.
You're like,
We have a question over here.
Oh.
Oh, we have two questions. Oh,
Okay,
please.
go ahead.
no, it's okay. Go ahead.
Go ahead, yeah.
Eeny, meeny, miny, you.
For example, D&D 5th edition, it
Mhm.
really isn't that scary for like, a big monster in front of them or, multiple monsters like that. It's really easy to live. How do you add like a fear factor, urgency, besides throwing a bunch of big monsters, like Mothership is like very scary feel. How would you do that?
At a countdown.
Countdown.
Add a time limit. They have to do something in this amount of time, or everybody dies.
Like environmental?
Yeah, it could be
Environmental layer actions are a huge thing in 5th edition.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying though. 5th edition is very like superhero-y. The players become very strong, very fast, and become very difficult to stop. Don't be afraid to borrow from other non-D&D sources to make something a bit more difficult and harder for them to face. Or, like I said, give them an enemy that they actually just physically cannot defeat, and they have the actual goal is something else. So they're constantly fighting and slowly running out of resources while they're trying to do something else.
Yeah, there could also be a puzzle. Like they have like you see it in video games all the
Puzzle
time.
box, like Zelda.
This guy can't be damaged until you hit this light and this light and this light, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden now he's so vulnerable that you can just beat the crap out of him. But it's only for a limited amount of time.
And that makes them think. Sometimes we don't think, so
Yeah, I
we just
think
force it.
Fifth
But,
edition is very much like you have to whittle their resources down, and it can be hard, especially with how long combat can take.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
And your question?
I have a player who really backstory really campaign, and then at the end of the campaign, I guess he just didn't like what I was doing with his backstory, but I had to choose it and then change characters. How do you kind of like opposite that? Because he kind of just was like, I'm just gonna sit out because when I new character,
Take him out of your game.
I mean,
Straight up the
that is definitely
An idea.
an
Extreme
idea.
solution.
It is an extreme solution.
I mean, like-
when you get to the point where kicking somebody out of the group, that should be the very, very, very last thing you do.
But also, I feel like it wasn't fair to you because
Yeah.
they need to understand that the reason it's happening that way is because they decided to give you their backstory in the middle of the game. And if they don't
Yeah.
understand that, then
I think you need to explain to them how much planning you do and how much storytelling that you're crafting, and so like so they can understand that them giving you the backstory halfway through the game is too late.
Yes, they are a main
Like,
character, they're not the only one.
Right, you can try your best to make it feel, cohesive, but like if you had gotten it earlier, it could have been what this other player had. It's like I tried my best, and I'm sorry that didn't work out, and I'll keep trying. Like I said, I think trying to bring them into your shoes and show them like what you have to do, so they can maybe understand I get why it was so difficult for you. I mean, not everyone's going to be very receptive to that, though.
Yeah.
I will say.
Especially because you said they already were like sitting out because of what was happening with their character. It already sounds like it kind of got to that point, unfortunately. But I mean, just try to communicate with them. If they don't understand, then I mean, sometimes there's not always a solution that's going to work. Sometimes you just have to make the decision of what happens. But really, just talking to them as much as you can and try to get them to understand, like he was saying.
It's like from a player's perspective, and not that. That's super extreme. But like, how does a player balance following the DM's campaign versus like inserting your own personality in the player, but not derailing the campaign?
That all comes down to communication. Is huge. Talk with the DM if you want to do something beforehand. Just like, hey, I know you want to go this way. I was also thinking of kind of doing this. Would that be okay? Would I be able to integrate something like this? And you can talk with the DM and you can create a moment that can happen. And it might not necessarily be a surprise for you or the DM, but it'd be a surprise for your other fellow players that are in there. And you can create an interesting moment that they get a reveal like that. Because not all the time you're going to be able to just be like, and then this moment happened and everyone clapped. And it's just like, and we were all impressed. That can happen, but it's not realistic to think it'll happen every time. So communication with your DM and from DMs to players as well. Communication is super, super important, is the most important thing. Because if you don't talk about it, then you don't get anywhere.
Yeah, and it's not always easy either.
I think there's, this is another DM perspective. I think a lot of it is understanding your players. Because if you have players that like to do their thing, that like they want to make the decision, be hands off, let them do that, and then let them guide the story for a little bit. You don't have to always be
In control.
Yeah, guiding them. I mean, every table was different, every player was different. I mean, when I DM'd first-time players, I very much had to be like, okay, now you guys are gonna go this way, because if I didn't tell them what to do, they would just sit there and not do anything. And I'm like, okay, like at least let's do something.
Right.
And that's just because they didn't know what they were doing. They had never played, so they didn't understand. So I was like, I'm gonna be the guiding hand here. And when they finally would branch off and be like, hey, can I do this? And I'm like, oh yeah, you can. Absolutely.
And before we take any more questions, we're kind of going to go through more what we have, and then we'll kind of talk more at the end, just so we don't get derailed too much. But I do appreciate you guys. You guys sound like you want to talk to us a lot. Great, we have lots of time, so let's go.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff brewing, but we have even more stuff to say here. A lot of important things when it comes to working together with your DM and the player. If somehow something happens that is that you kind of get caught off guard, and you feel like you may want to be mad at either the DM or the player, first talk it out and make sure if you talk it out and it's all copacetic, game stuff stays in game. Don't carry game stuff outside of the game for anybody, whether a player or DM, because you're all just trying to have fun and play a game together. It ain't that serious. It ain't that deep. But sometimes it can be, you feel so connected to your characters, and you feel like with these stories, it feels like almost like it's a personal attack against you when somebody does something like that. But what you gotta focus on, even though you are so connected to your character, separate a little bit of gap. Because then it just makes the game not fun for you, makes the game not fun for other people, because they can feel uncomfortable, and it creates a weird dynamic in the group.
Instead of having like it be now an escape, it seems like something that's more stressful. Since we're oh my god, like with this character, oh my god, they're gonna like just separate a little. It's okay to like want fan out of your character. It's okay to want like memorabilia of your character. Like that's totally cool. Just please don't.
But a way to counter it and create a story moment out of it, talk with the people that made you uncomfortable about it, like, hey, I didn't like that, but maybe we can make this a thing with the character, because and try to understand from other people's perspectives, like see where they're trying to go with it. Now, if they're just being a dick, then yeah, no, don't entertain that. But no, if they were really trying something and it didn't vibe well with you, try to talk with them and try to make a moment out of it with your fellow players. That's like some of the greatest moments I've had as a DM is watching other players literally make moments with each other while I just sit here and just go.
Like, for instance, the 2 portable holes in the Kraken.
Oh, we don't talk about that.
That was just me. That was me using rules he forgot about.
Never give your players 2 portable holes. Yeah,
Let's not.
I didn't read the item
He didn't read
all the way.
And then we're like, oh, we can.
I was just like, 2 holes? Sure.
Why not? We
Didn't know
kind
it would create a black hole.
we kind of went into it like a little bit, but good stories have high stakes.
Yes,
So.
high stakes in your stories. And that's where you hear a lot of the examples with some of the questions, like how do we get players to want to do certain things? Put big stakes, like, you know, not, I mean, like maybe if it's like medium rare, filet mignon are really good too. But
Medium rare.
but like no, but seriously, like stories that have like always like the big stories you think about, like Lord of the Rings is a good example of like they have to get that ring into a volcano or the entire world is going to be covered in darkness.
Yeah, the end of the Middle Earth.
A tiny ring is the cause. So you can take like the biggest stakes and put it on the smallest item. It's just this one thing. If it gets messed with, that's it. World's end. It's all done. So huge stakes, but obviously like don't just go like high stakes, high stakes, high stakes, high stakes. Have a build. You want to build. Like little things here and there, and it's just like, and it's building and it's growing and it's crescendoing and it keeps going and keeps going and keeps going until now it's so crazy that there's so many things that we have to take care of, and I don't know which one to take care of first. We haven't tried anything. We're all out of ideas. Yeah, stuff like that.
So we talked a lot about DM's perspective. We got a lot of good points going. Let's more talk about getting to the player's perspective and how players help with story crafting. So, for instance, your players do have an impact on the story. They have a huge impact. Really, they kind of are like, you have the bullet points, but the players are really what kind of are creating your story or doing everything.
Connect the bullet points.
Connecting it. So, like for instance, what do you think, like balancing the spotlight, of course, every player deserves to have a moment.
Yes.
That goes back to DMing also, but also players interacting with each other, and like we mentioned before, getting other players involved. Sometimes you'll see, oh, this player hasn't really done much, they're kind of quiet, maybe they're struggling, they need someone to help them that's not
Give
necessarily
them a
DM, get
push.
them involved. Like sometimes they'll be like, hey Crafty, let's go, you wanna go to start a bar fight? Like,
Yeah,
it's
like what I was talking about earlier.
yeah, like
Sure.
that kind of stuff. Just like getting each other involved.
Yeah.
The whole team. You're one team. So I mean, you may have some people that like to kind of go off on their own and like go steal things like the rogue, but
Yeah,
you know.
don't be afraid to use fireball. It will come in handy.
You're
Just
like, wow,
text
she
it.
blew up the
Doesn't matter,
tavern.
I'm a
Now
hero.
what do
Lost
I
the
do?
tavern, but you know what? We found a missing person. So there you go. It worked out.
It's
it
true.
worked
It
out
was
in the end.
there was a missing person in the tavern. They didn't know that. They blew up the tavern and then they found there was a missing person underneath. Turns out everybody in the tavern was really bad people. So they didn't know that
Oh,
before they
I
did
So
it.
I did a good thing. It wasn't bad.
Well, except for the guy in the basement
That
they were
sounds like-
keeping.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we saved that guy.
Yeah,
So-
missing person. Everyone else in the tavern was a terrible person. You didn't
Just
know that
I'm trying to
beforehand.
justify your bad decision, but
Yeah. And like, and this is like, of course, story crafting with creating a backstory for your player character. This can be challenging for some people. And this goes back to what I think too is borrowing things from other media, borrowing things you've seen. It's okay. Just don't outright copy it.
It
Yeah,
could also
don't
be, like-
outright plagiarize.
No, I mean, it could also be like from real life, like something that's part of you, something that happened to you in real life. I've done some of that with my characters. I added some of my life, my like stuff that's happened before into that character. Not fully, but you know, that also helps out.
Yeah, especially as a newer, if you're a newer player too, it's okay to like play yourself kind of, you know? You don't have to try so hard to make an opposite character have an accent.
yeah,
everything.
the
You can do
role
that.
playing can come later. You know, you don't have to
Once
go.
you're comfortable.
You don't, yeah, you don't. If you're not comfortable doing it, you don't have to worry about it. You can just play a character that, you know, it doesn't have to be something super crazy. But going back to the storytelling, I think it's important for the players to know that it's the story that you guys are telling collaboratively. Everyone at the table is all telling the story together, and it's not, like I said, it's not just like you going through a story that's already written. It hasn't been written yet until you play it. So it's like the decisions you make become the story, and so you really should want to play to make those decisions to be like, I think, yeah, we're the heroes, but I don't like this guy either. He may be on our side now, but I don't think he's going to be good later. And maybe you make some decisions that get him out of there, and you change the whole world irreversibly. But in maybe a good way, maybe a bad way. But it's a decision you made that affected the story.
An example of players affecting the story is in one of our side campaigns that we had viewers play in. I picked people from our Patreon to play in a game. Mind you, I'd never played with these people before, so it was one of those like, you don't necessarily know your audience, so good luck. It was one of those things. But it turned out to be really great. But by episode 7, they do a thing that involves divine intervention, which if you know what divine intervention is, it's a very rare thing that can happen when you're, below level 20 as a cleric, and you have to roll on percentile dice your level or lower in order for it to work. And they were level 7. So they had to roll a 7. A 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1. Off of a D100, essentially. So it's like 7 out of 100. And they did it. And in the world that I had created, calling down a god is a big deal, because the gods are not allowed to interfere with that of mortals. So if they called a god down to the material plane, it was going to be a huge thing that happened. Now, they were in a place where it was completely cut off from the rest of the world. Their continent was a bioorganic organism that was constantly growing into a dome, and it would eventually seal them off from the world completely. So the god came down and blew up the wall, opening them up to the rest of the world. So it globally changed everything. And it was the goddess of the moon, so it was daytime, and it turned to nighttime globally for everybody. So it was one of those things where it's like, she comes down, boom, there goes the wall, and then, there's the BBEG's, henchman, get out of here. Slapped him out of an 80-story window, and he fell down to his death. He didn't die because, he was possessing somebody else. So.
He died off screen, so he didn't really die.
Yeah. So that completely changed everything. But also the divine intervention was I had the choice to do it. But I thought about it with the story that I created. This is a huge deal. It has to be a huge deal. If I pull back in any way, it's gonna feel like not worth it. It's gonna feel like, oh, they just got a divine intervention, big whoop. But I made it to where it changed things so drastically that I had to flip the script and I had to rewrite like 3 sessions. Because the story was already going to a certain way of how it was going to end, and I had to completely rewrite what I was doing. But that was also my choice, because I was the one who had to act out the divine intervention. So I actively made the choice to change my own story for my players' enjoyment, because they accomplished something absolutely crazy. That's like a once-in-a-lifetime thing. So that's something that you can do, even if you have like a certain way and you just want, and something happens with what your players do, you can dramatically flip the script and see where it goes. And I barely even remember what I wrote before of how it was gonna go, but I liked so much more how it went after that.
I remember you mentioning it too, because the campaigns were intertwined. We were doing separate ones, and then back to our campaign, they told us what happened, and we're like, what?
Yeah, because they got to play through it when it went from day to night, and they're like, what's going on? Why is the moon out? And then it changed back to like, why is it gone again? And they had no idea what was going on. They didn't find out for like months. Those characters didn't find out for months what happened. They just knew that the moon was there, and then it went away.
Yeah, I think that's one of those, you try to make it statistically impossible, very unlikely with rolls. The dice will troll you. If it's possible, the dice will roll it.
Yeah.
They'll do that. And then now you're stuck playing out something you thought wasn't gonna happen. Like in the campaign I was running, they were gambling, and I made a jackpot of like
Oh my my gosh.
a ton of money. And I was like, they're not gonna roll it, and then they did, and I was like, I don't know why I didn't think this was gonna happen.
We had so much money.
The economy's
We
in
had-
shambles. They still have money for
I still have
leftover.
money.
They
We
still
had
haven't
it
spent it
with
all.
no problems
spent
with
all
money.
mine. I actually spent all mine.
You spent all yours, but they split it between 4 people, and
It
you
still
still
was a
haven't
lot.
spent it all. Yeah.
I did want to mention too.
What was the jackpot? It was like
It was like-
20 million.
No,
No, it was like
500,000.
that's still a lot. In the game, that's a
Oh,
lot.
Or was it a
Ha-
million?
half
I
a
feel like
million.
it was a million.
Maybe it was a
No,
million.
it
It was
was
split
100.
between 4 people.
I mean, it doesn't matter. It's
It doesn't matter. It
But
was a lot.
but I do want to mention too, just because your players roll a nat 20 does not mean they get to do whatever they want. I do. That's a good point because like I've had it before where I've learned this through being a player where I'm like I rolled 20, I get to do it. No, it didn't work. Oh, okay. I'm just like that's fair. Like I'm not mad. I'm like okay. Like it just doesn't work. Like up to 20 doesn't mean you can literally do anything. Does not mean you're a god. Does not mean everything works out. It's just you got a good roll and sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, 20s don't necessarily mean you're just like, ha, take that DM, slap in the face, and you're just
Yeah.
like, take that. Now what do I win?
It's also too goes on the opposite end. A critical failure does not mean your character dies. Okay? It doesn't mean that what you did has to kill somebody. Maybe it could be like it doesn't. It just really depends on the situation. It really does.
Are you okay with it?
Yeah, no, I'm just getting Crafty stuff that she put by me. And then she forced me to sit here.
Since we're talking about players, do we want to talk about player backstories, like creating one?
Yeah, I
Oh,
kind of
yeah,
touched on it a
absolutely.
bit, but I haven't gone. So like me personally, I'm like a writer, so it's easier for me to create backstories. But also, I will say too that I do take inspiration from other things. Like she was saying, real life events, video games, animes I've played. Really, you just like, and sometimes you get your best stories while you're sitting on the toilet. Like it just like it really does.
I always like to ask the DM what I'm working with and what I can get away with, and not necessarily get away with, but like like what in the setting, like what are the kingdoms? Is there royal families? Is there what am I working with so I can see what's already important and then insert myself into that if I want to be someone of importance, or I could be I could go the complete other side of that and be a poor impoverished person who hates the rich people and has a huge vendetta against them.
Right.
But I mean, it's very important to ask the DM first, like what is available for you to even do, because you can't just make up a backstory with nothing
Right.
necessarily. I mean, you could, but then it might not work with what the DM has, and then now your backstory sucks.
This is
Or
communication
you have to throw it out
again.
entirely,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Communication's so important, and like also like you really do have to talk to them. You can't just make a backstory and say here and expect it to go all well.
There are backstories that you can make that
Right.
require that does not require the DM's involvement. You're just like, my parents died in a horrible accident and I had to live on the street as an urchin and now I'm a broke. Like that doesn't require the DM's input in any way. But if you wanted something more connected to the world, then you would definitely need to.
Right, like you say, okay, where would I be from? Like, and sometimes I kind of wing it on the spot, like extra story stuff. Sure, you'll have your story base. Sometimes I just add stuff in the middle of a session without. So I've done it before, but like not anything crazy. Just like I'll make up something about my character that's not like gonna drastically change the story.
Like a quirk you
Like
can
a
just
quirk
add.
or-
You can add randomly, especially if it's timely. You just like, you know what? My character doesn't like cheese. I decided.
It also goes to too, you don't have to be tied to your stats. Like, just because you're you're technically intelligent on paper, you can just act like a complete dumbass if you want.
Yeah.
Like, it
The
doesn't,
thing
like,
is with intelligence, is that you can be smart, super smart in one thing. That does not mean you're smart in everything.
you can be really good at magic, but that's it.
You're just really smart when it comes to magic, but other than that, you aren't street smart. You're book smart when it comes to magic, but then also like you don't know your history. You don't know, you can play around with that so much. There's a lot of stuff you can do with your stats. You can be tied to your stats. You cannot be tied to your stats. All up to you, and it adds more role play. And yeah, just like don't worry about your stats, what they are. Play the character how you want, and then just the stats are just how you mechanically play the game. But you can also tie yourself to your stats as part of your story. That also is cool
Yeah.
too.
You can also, reverse archetypes are cool too. You can be a rogue with both parents alive. That's like definitely a thing you can do.
Yeah,
Yes, give me both of those parents.
I have a halfling rogue who has very loving parents.
Yeah.
Yo,
cute.
That's cute. I like
That's
that.
really
Yeah,
cute.
I think it could be a good, refreshing difference to take like a very common like character backstory and then invert it or change it. You know, instead of the wizards who went to the academy to learn, you're homeschooled. So your magic works, but everyone else is like, why does it work? That's not the way it's supposed to be.
You're like, I just read a book.
Yeah, you're just
How
like,
are
"I
you
taught
casting
myself."
that spell? It's supposed to. It's Leviosa, not Leviosa. No, it's like no, it's Leviosa. It's
Yeah.
fine. I got it. It works.
I just read
And
it.
everyone's just flabbergasted, like, how did
It doesn't make any sense.
I don't think I've done it.
Or yeah, the rogue with parents who are alive and love him, or you know.
Again, give me those parents. It's something to use.
The sorcerer that actually works hard at everything they do.
Yeah.
That's not real.
The bard who actually just, goes around and plays music and sings songs for people.
Yeah, the bard who doesn't want to seduce everything.
Impossible.
Never heard of.
No, that would never happen.
No.
Never.
Are you
Yeah.
that really hates clocks but loves everything else?
Can you say the bard that goes and volunteers and tells stories to small children in orphanages? Yeah, no, that doesn't happen.
That sounds like a character you would make.
Well, I mean, I did have a character who really liked orphans, and then I had a bard, so let's just like put that
There you go.
like into one.
Her character liked orphans in the fact that she wanted to help them, not that she liked the fact that they didn't have parents.
No, not that.
I love the concept of orphans, so we're gonna make more.
She did create a lot of orphans, though.
Well, I think they were bad people.
She's a barbarian.
I also think the concept of like the slight inversion can also apply to like plot points. Instead of going to save a princess in a castle, you're taking back the castle for the princess.
Yeah.
From the evil king.
Yeah, I like that too.
Or instead of going into a wizard's tower and handling all his magical defenses so you can get the treasure, you're going back into the wizard's tower because he locked himself inside and you need someone to get him out.
And also, so I had a barbarian named Malala. She was a UNT, and she really, not only did she love helping orphans, she also really liked being people's therapist. So she would sit down with people and be like, tell me, what's wrong today? It was just
How does that make
completely
you feel?
but then I would also go and rage, in combat. I think I was
Makes
a
me
totem
feel
barbarian.
angry.
Make me feel like I want to rage.
But stuff like that, you can just take things that wouldn't normally be normal for a barbarian and then just flip it a little.
You're about to mention Okir.
Okir, yeah.
Well, that one's very much a barbarian.
He's full on dumbarian, of course. His name is Okir, which is my real name backwards. My real name is Rico, so I just put it backwards.
I actually just forgot that was the reason that you did that.
That is the reasoning, 100% the reasoning.
Wow.
But it was because we were playing Curse of Strahd, and I didn't want to play Curse of Strahd because I played Curse of Strahd before, and I was tired of playing Curse of Strahd. I wanted to play something else, like Rime of the Frost Maiden, but someone wanted to play Curse of Strahd, so we had to do it.
Heaven forbid we like our dark gothic horror.
It is a great module, I will say, as somebody who's played it 4 times. I just think 4 times is too many. But I had this character, and I just wanted to make a dumb variant because I'm like, I just want to be angry that I'm playing this. That's the only reason. I just want to be angry, and it's the point. It's like I get to play for once, and then it's something I don't even want to play. And I'm like, fine, I guess I'll just play because I have to. And then as I'm playing with this character, it just became really funny, and I developed this quirk for him randomly that he was an interior designer. He moonlights as an interior designer as well as being a gladiator.
Not like the way you think with the interior design. He'd actually take furniture, but from.
Oh, that's how he evolved. Because I did take this
Yeah.
character and put him into a campaign.
We found him back into
Yeah, we found him in another game.
But originally he just stood like this, Okir kills Strahd. Okir only want kills Strahd. These drapes kind of tacky, not really tie room together. Really would like a pot of flowers on table. Very pretty. Okir really big fan of open concept and break down a wall. And he'd be like, there, much more room for recreational activities.
I'm surprised.
What recreational mean?
I mean, he's just saying. Yeah. So and then it evolved.
So yeah, I evolved him after we didn't do that campaign anymore, and that was lost to time. There's only a couple clips of it online, unfortunately. But I brought him into the world that I created, and so I made his interior designing a little bit more extra, let's say. He makes body pillows out of actual torsos, footstools,
Literal footstool.
armchairs.
I had to spend the night in his house.
Yeah, we all
Oh my
did.
god.
And yeah, so
It's
like
definitely smelly,
an
yeah,
actual
a little bit, yeah.
foot that was made into a stool,
Here, sit on
arms
footstool.
that make a chair.
Armchair.
Yeah,
A skin rug.
yeah, skin rug.
Oh my god.
And it was just, and they were. They, yeah, and he had headlamps too, very nice headlamps. But yeah, so he evolved into that because then I could do what I want at that point. I was DM, so I just kind of was like, let's make him even more gross. That's funny.
I'm sorry, this is a very serious question about your character with headlamps. Does the light come out of the mouth and eyes or out of the bottom of the skull?
Yes.
So, okay, write that down for my horror campaign, thank you.
Funny enough, I do really good horror because I'm scared of things. Very
That's why you
scared.
would do. I really want a horror campaign, but he won't.
I know.
We
just want
we play.
We've done Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah, we've done Call of
Yeah.
Cthulhu.
I mean, that's different.
Really like the genre of horror, but cannot watch thrillers, slashers.
I can't.
I do.
can't.
I'm all about that.
I talk at the movie. I talk at the movie. People would hate
Well, it's
watching
because
it.
there's always clowns also. It doesn't
I hate
help that.
clowns.
He can't do
Hate
with
clowns.
clowns.
Can't stand them.
I'm overrated at this point, I'm sorry, I said it.
I don't care if it's good.
Anyways,
But
back on
yes,
topic.
one of our famous Smoking Dragons tangents we always get on these. Solar, why don't you take it away?
Well, since we're talking about player backstories, and then we can transition into go back to player impact in the story. I think it's very important for if your players miss a deadline for something that they miss the deadline. Don't give them more chances. If they messed up, the world goes on without them. It can make the world feel more real if they didn't get to the princess in time and she's dead. Because they went and decided to travel through the forest and take 3 days doing that instead of what they should have been
They
doing.
decided to do a whole episode of shopping.
Yeah, well, I mean that's different. But I just mean like if they made the conscious choice to basically miss a deadline, you gotta just punish them for it. You have to make the world move without them sometimes.
It is like what we were talking about earlier. We did actually touch on that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I just it makes the world more believable, and then your players will then be like, oh, we gotta do these things, and then they're invested in the story, and then you can hopefully craft a nice narrative together.
And I know, and again, like more on that, like I know if like there's a certain way you want the story to go, but like I said, like at the beginning, like have an idea of where, know where you're starting, have kind of an idea of where you're going in the middle, and maybe how you want it to end, because it's going to change as you get to the middle and the end. It's going to drastically change, or it could not. It could completely stay the same, and everybody just goes on rails, and it's all happy-go-lucky and great. That's unrealistic, though, because players will be players. It's hardly ever going to go that simple.
Yeah, I also think players vibing together is really important, because sometimes if you have a group and they're just not vibing, maybe it's just not gonna work. Because I've had games where I've played with people, of course, where it's just not vibing. And sometimes it just doesn't work, and maybe either find another group or maybe talk it out. Sometimes talking out doesn't always work. You just have too many conflicting personalities that just do not work together. And sometimes that's really just how it is. It's not always an easy fix for it. There's not always an easy way. Of course, like we said, communication. As much as you can, if you can work it out. If not, sometimes you just gotta split it off. And that's unfortunate, but sometimes it just has to be. I've had plenty of D&D games in my experience where they just were lost to time, either, of course, because we can't get together, because we can never find a time to play, being adults, and having to do
real life getting in the way.
In real life, we play once a month or something, and it's just the story's not going anywhere because we can't play that long. Everyone has work, responsibilities, whatever. Or we just don't vibe, and it's just not working.
Yes.
On that, do you guys have recommendations for actually, what are your goals for people getting together and making sure they're consistent with their play? And
Well,
how do you handle that?
luckily for us, we stream our episodes that we play, and having a schedule where we stream kind of makes it a responsibility, and that really does help get us there at least
Right, that's
regularly,
good,
because
yeah.
it's like oh I can't miss stream, that helps us for when you're just playing with your friends. It can be really difficult. Scheduling is probably the #1 most difficult part about playing Dungeons & Dragons. Getting 5 people together for a few hours, once a week or once every 2 weeks can be some of the hardest things you've ever done.
Yeah, I mean, if you,
I also think that like with conduct of play as well, like making sure that everybody's on the same page. Communication is key. Always have like at the beginning, establish it with the session 0. Establish all your rules at the start so that everybody knows. Like if you have to, I don't think it really needs to get to this far, but write it down. Write it down and have everybody sign it as like a weird-ish kind of contract.
Yeah.
Like it's not really legally binding, but just so that everybody, you can be like, yeah, you signed it, so it's like you're gonna honor it because this is what we all agreed on.
Yeah, and
so
also luckily there's a ton of resources to play online nowadays, and I know that's not for everyone, and I get that that's maybe not the solution that you want. I'm just saying for some people that might work really well because there's Discord, there's Roll20, there's D&D Beyond. There's all these like online resources where you can play the game together without having to get together.
yeah, I also do think sometimes if you can play without one person, if they're okay with that, because sometimes we have had it sometimes where it depends where we are in the story, if we can play without one person. If you can do that and then they can just catch up after, that's fine. Sometimes it comes to that, but it really just depends on your situation, where the story at. Like if you need everybody there, you're gonna want everybody there. But sometimes the schedules conflict and you just have to kind of do your best to communicate with your players and try to get people on the same page. But things happen. Like they'll get in a fender bender on the way to your session or something, and then that's all the thing that actually happened recently to one of our players. He was fine. But yeah, on our right session, we had to cancel the whole thing because at the point we were at, it was like the finale.
it's like you can't keep going, like especially when you only have 4 players at the table. If one of them is gone, even as like as you go even lower, like if you just have like a 3-person party, one of those people missing, huge. That is game-changing, world-changing behavior, because a lot of stuff that they could do to contribute to the story, they're not there for it. So why play if they're not going to be
I think
there?
sometimes too we had it before where the DM would play their character, but like as like not
But
having
that's-
just like
that's
a
with
filler.
communication
With
with the
communication,
player.
yeah. So the player say, hey, we're just gonna play your character in this session. You're just gonna hang out. Like we just are not gonna. They're just there, so that for the sake of being there, because we can't really like just write them out of the story for some reason right there where we are.
I almost hate to say this, but like, I'm assuming you're playing with adults, right? Right. the way I see it with adults, if they want to be there, they will make time. They will figure out a way to get there. So like if you're having issues with people, especially if it's a singular person not showing up, it might be time to talk to them and be like, are you enjoying this? Are you having a lot of fun? Do you really want to be here?
Because like if it's the same thing every time, it's the same kind of excuses or reasons. Oh, I couldn't get the day off. Oh, I have this. Maybe it's another reason. Maybe they're just not enjoying it. Maybe.
Like a surgeon, and he's like, I have surgery tomorrow. And I'm just like,
I get that.
Great surgery.
No,
Hey, I
Tell me
feel
a
you on
different surgeon.
that.
I'm just
I
kidding.
feel you on that.
I
They didn't
actually
get
have
enough sleep for that
I
surgery
actually have a
after
somewhat
D&D.
personal anecdote that works for this because I also play ice hockey, and one of my teams, 3 of the players all are they're all anesthesiologists. They all have a company together, so they like, and so they're like always like working basically like, but like here's the thing, even though there's 3 of them, they're somehow always able to. They always try their absolute hardest to try to find someone to cover them if they need to be working so they can come play. So like, there's a very visible and conscious effort for them to be there. It doesn't always work, sometimes they miss, right? Luckily with recreational hockey, it doesn't matter if they're there or not really. But for us on the outside, we can see that they tried. And usually that's all that matters, is that you can see that they tried to be there and something happened and they couldn't, and it's like, okay.
Yeah. So if they really want to be there, I feel like they will make a conscious effort to try. And if not, I think, like you said, there's a bigger conversation that should be had.
Yeah, if it's preventing you from continuing on with the campaign, it might be time to, say like, hey, we might need to just write your character out of the story for a little bit until you can make time, if at all. and just be like, your character's gonna take a break from the party. They're gonna go on a solo, soul-searching journey. They're gonna walk off into the sunset for a bit and then probably go, do some figuring out about themselves while we continue with the main story.
Yeah,
So that might be a good way to handle it too.
All right.
Yeah, 'cause we've had
Enough
to do that.
of the heavy talk though. Can we talk about something more light though, real quick?
Sure.
All right. Who likes making characters? Who likes naming their characters? I am absolutely terrible at naming characters. What do you guys do when you need to make up a name for your character? That's really awesome.
That's
I
really
never would
smart.
have. Yeah, I just.
Okay, let's try to do it right now. Okay. So a prefix as in like what, for example? Give us a prefix. Nothing. Can you
The mind's blank. His creative energy is tapped.
I'm trying to think. So a prefix and then.
It's been a long day.
Was that? Oh, he said he likes to take a prefix of a word to start, and then he'll whatever that immediately comes to his mind afterwards, and then he'll put them together.
It's like a prefix, like something.
I mean that works for him.
Yeah.
I just use fantasy name generator.
I'm gonna bring forward.
And then I look at one and go like, I kind of like that, and then I change it a little bit.
Feldor.
Oh, Fel?
Feldor. That's a name.
That's definitely a bad guy name.
Felsing. That's what I
Fel.
Felsing. That's what I thought.
Felsing sounds like a name
Like-
of a sword in Lord of the Rings.
Felsing? Felsing? Or like Van Helsing?
Van Helsing. We're not. Wait,
Van Velsing? You can also, what's funny, with naming character, like, you can just take someone's actual name and just change the letters around. I've done that
Like
so many
here,
times.
like-
All right, let's hear. What other examples do we got over here?
Blazing Saddles.
Oh yeah,
Mongo.
absolutely.
I love
Yeah,
that movie.
I think taking from your favorite media is never a bad choice. I did name one of my characters Vincent because why not?
And I named one of mine too.
I actually had my most recent campaign was in Shadowguard, and everybody on the table had the weirdest name. There was Spartacus Glycemic. There was
I wish I was that clever.
Oh my god, that's
all
so
the
funny.
same, right? There was not Megatron, and then there was Megatron, and I'm over here trying to make like something like Shadow of the Helix, like Snork in the Sixth Sense, and they're like, you're Snorftron now, and I'm like, you know what, I'm Snorftron.
Do you want to?
That's where you pull out Adelgrim, Brocard, Clodomir, Doofut, Everard, Ferdugas, Gainsborough. That's where you pull that out.
I kept forgetting.
And
what
his initials are A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Double whammy.
Like some of the best games I have, like and characters too, have the complete jokes, complete like accidents. I'll be like, yeah, isn't this just a funny game to like one accident, but if we just whole other thing and like fuck this.
It's crazy how that works. It really does. Like sometimes like you come up with like the most jokey character, and then it becomes like one of your favorite characters you've ever played in your life.
Yeah, like
90% of my favorite characters are exactly that. Like my biggest book character is a fan character that originated in miraculously.
Nice.
I love that.
Nice.
Good.
All right, what else?
But,
What other
I want to
examples we
mention
got?
my character real quick.
Hold on,
Yeah, let him go.
We'll let.
One of, not mine, but my brother, who's in the Cellgamer campaign, is currently playing Clatoid. And they are pirate birds. And he's partners with another character. And he doesn't use his main character, he uses a nickname. We call him Spit.
You call him Spit?
His real name is Doodle Scooter.
I mean, yeah.
Spit it is.
That is the kind of go-to for naming things is just think of a quick nickname that describes the character is brash, disgusting, and probably good.
It's like how we name our pets and then we don't call them their actual names.
And that's the nickname becomes the character. Like NTT, the group, that's sick.
Yeah, like I took a character. My character's name that I made was Raven Armburst, and I took it as a name from a character of a character. His name was Crow Armbrust from Trail. So I just made it a different bird. Well, and then I just changed it a little. Yeah, then I was like, yeah, we'll just yeah. Yeah, then you can take it like a. That's a good idea too.
Theme
I'm writing
Having
all
a
of these
theme.
things down for my next character. So
It's like
I don't struggle over 3 days going like, what the heck should I
It's
name
like
this
Dragon
character,
Ball,
man?
like a Kiratoriama's characters. Like we got, Bulma and
Briefs.
Briefs and
Yeah, Bulma
vegetables.
Briefs, Bulma
Yeah.
Briefs, Trunks.
Yeah, like literally just like random
Bro.
stuff.
I wouldn't be surprised if she had an Uncle Boxer.
He phoned it in on the name so bad, and it doesn't even matter.
I mean, it's Toriyama.
It's so
Rest in peace. But like you can also like I said, like you can take names of actual people and literally switch the first letters around. For one of my NPCs, he was a general of the army, and his name was General Khan Shonnery. And he was very, very, long-winded. He talked a lot like this. And so it just gave me a reason to do a Sean Connery impression. It's literally the only reason I did it, and it was really fun, and I killed him. And it was funny because Logic tried to save him twice.
Was that when I was trying to?
Yeah, you were trying to say what he was
Was he cursed?
He was cursed, and she was trying to cast a spell, but she kept rolling too low.
And then he just, I was like, no.
It's just like, it's all right, you tried.
I was like, I used all my spells. I was trying to save him, and I kept rolling low. And sometimes you just roll low and see this is what happens. Like you just get unlucky sometimes. You're literally trying to do something, and you're like, yep, I rolled a 2 like 4 times.
The dice gods
Yeah.
do not like you.
I'm like, and then you keep switching dice and hoping for a different outcome,
Doesn't work.
and you keep playing them in jail, and it's still not working.
Like you can even name someone like Snold Armenhammer and just give him like an Arnold Schwarzenegger voice. Just be like, yeah, come on, I'm good to do this. Yeah, you get to go over there and you get to do that. I mean, it's just like stuff you can just come up like real fast and then like make like really jokey ones.
I think I'm always so serious about my names. I don't think I've ever made like a joke character.
Well, I
just
feel like we're always like scared to do that because we're playing really long form campaigns, and it's like the joke character can get really can grate on the party if you're playing in a long campaign where like being silly isn't like the main, like isn't a big part of it. I think I rode the line with Bobby Blade.
Bobby Blade was great.
You also
I love
had
Bobby
another
Blade.
character.
Unapologetically, I love Bobby Blade.
Bobby Blade I loved Bobby Blade too.
It was fine. It worked out fine because your name wasn't that silly. It was just
Right,
like,
right, and the character was silly, but it was, like I said, I feel like I rode the line pretty good on
Yeah.
being silly in a serious campaign.
It's like just balancing it out too when you're thinking of your character names. It just depends on the kind of
Yeah.
campaign you want to.
I need to make a joke character. I don't think
I
I've
haven't
done a
made one
joke
either.
character.
Yeah.
I think we're doing a joke campaign next is what it sounds like. What did you want to say? That's actually fantastic.
Pepto-Bismol.
Acetaminophen.
The most powerful sorcerer in the world, Xanax. Yes.
Yes, for your work team, you know, with your practice, but you know what? Anyone how it wasn't probably actually great.
Yeah, you could even do that.
You can just say that wasn't actually my name the whole time.
And it's
yeah.
and that's something that it can really increase like the whole thing with your character. You can really add like a huge backstory. It's like, yeah, no, my name's actually Greg, and I come from this town. People just started calling me Pepto-Bismol for some reason, and it just kind of stuck. I kept trying to tell them like my name is Greg, but they didn't listen to me.
No
And it was
Pepto-Bismol.
it was just a really like a tough time I was having.
I'd be like, well,
Because he always
that's,
wore a pink shirt, that's why they called him Pepto.
I just call you Pepto. I'm like, it's fine. It's okay, Greg.
The big PB.
Big PB.
But also, so alongside with names and creating characters, asking for feedback is very important. As both a DM and as a player, you want to, again, that's that big thing, communication. You always want to, just talk with your friends. Just talk with them. Trust me, they're not gonna be the worst thing ever.
I've never asked you this question, but that's, if we're talking about names, I feel like when you're naming like places and continents and like
Oh, yeah,
kingdoms.
places.
Do you ever feel like your names are silly or like not very like good until you play the game and then they like using them a lot and they're like, oh wait, no, they work. It totally works.
Yeah, 100%. There's a lot of them, and then there's some places, like especially naming places, it's really tough. And then you get into like, we had a draconic continent, so everything we kind of made up draconic, so it was just we had an idea of what it would sound like, and it would just be me ad-libbing this fake language, and people would try to understand it. They're like, I don't know what he's saying. I'd be vivos, moose, vivos, and I would just ad-lib that.
Was
and they're
that the
like,
Sobanibis?
Sobanibi.
Sobanibi.
It became a thing where, like, Sobanibi, they finally figured out Sobanibi means thank you. And they're like, so that's the only word they knew how to say. They're like, Sobanibi. And it just start going around to all these dragons going, Sobanibi. And it's just like, why are they saying thank you? They just walked into our room, that's weird. But naming places, like we had one city that was in control of the gold dragons were in control of it, and it was called Dinos Ur. And if you think about it, it's dinosaur. I just made it sound not like dinosaur.
Why did you never tell me that? Because I could never remember the names of your places. If you told me it sounded like that.
That wasn't the only one.
I can't
That
remember.
was not the only one. There was a bunch of
Dude, I
others.
can never remember.
I
I'm
can't
not
remember
gonna
off the
lie,
top of
I'm
my
so
head.
bad at remembering names of places. I'm so bad about it. She writes it down for me though. That's okay.
she's
She's
the
a
note taker.
note taker.
Yeah,
I write it
always
down,
felt-
even though I don't write it right, but yeah, it still works.
I just always felt when you're making the names yourself for these places, it never sounds right until your players use them, and then they use them a lot, and you're like, yeah, no, that works. You know, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it felt for me. I don't know if it ever felt.
So
it
Solaris,
felt that way for other
I'm
people.
assuming, was like.
Solaris is something I had in mind for a long time. I can't even tell you where even remotely how I came up
I'm
with
trying to
that.
think of the names of places. Hold on.
It was probably from something.
Mythos was it?
It's close.
Mythos is definitely Tales of Symphonia.
Yeah.
That definitely came from that.
Althea?
Althea.
Althea, couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you where I came up with that.
Terra, was that one?
Terra,
That's just
that's just means
It's just
Earth.
Earth, yeah.
Yeah.
Even,
And I just liked that name.
Oh, what did you name your planet? Dirt.
What did you name your
you
planet?
can also
Dirt.
name stuff with different languages, like Latin or something, or just take
Yeah,
a name
you
for
take
something.
take
or
inspiration
Spanish
from
or-
different languages. That's how we did the Draconic language. It had a like I think like a little bit of like a German aspect that also we wanted to make it sound very Tolkien-esque. So like you know how like when Gandalf says a lot of stuff in Elders like Baradur and stuff like that. I wanted to emulate that. So I wanted to do that, and then we also used like some German stuff. So we just kind of started piecing things together. It was like, let's name one of the cities Dinosaur. And we just mess it up.
I'm never gonna forget that now that you said that.
But yeah, when it comes to naming things, just have fun with it. Don't be afraid to be creative. I know that sounds like a really weird thing to say, but trust me how many times I hear people say like, well, I want to do this, but I don't know if that's good or not.
Just do
Very
it.
much a be cringe, but be free.
Yeah,
Take your pride.
yeah, you embrace your cringe, embrace what you wrote, because you're all in all what you're trying to do, and if your players understand it, if you have a good set of players, they will understand that what you are creating for them is for their enjoyment. And they know that in order for you to have enjoyment, they have to see you having enjoyment too.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of where DM's fun comes from, is when they see the players being happy.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's, as long as everyone's having fun, who cares if you named your town Snot? It's just like, yeah, let's go to Snot.
And then you also have those things where it's like you have like this, you're like, oh yeah, my big bad evil guy, his name, and then you write it out, and they're like, you mean like
Oh, Xanax? Well, we call him Xanax all the time.
they call him like Sanic, like
Xanax
Sonic the
or-
Hedgehog.
How did you actually say his name?
It's Sanic.
Xanax, and we'd say
Like,
Xanax.
yeah, they would say Xanax,
Xanax.
Sanic.
Sanic. And it's just like,
Your
well,
players are gonna. I mean, they're yell on your players.
It's
if
only
you're yelling.
it's only like one of my coolest bad guys,
He was
and
pretty
you just
cool, yeah.
you just make
Yeah.
fun of him.
Yeah.
But
The
it's
players
just
are
one of
always
those.
gonna make fun
It's
of
one of
the
those.
bad guy.
Yeah, it's always
Yeah.
gonna happen. Always gonna happen.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid of that happening because it's gonna. Just accept that it's gonna happen and move on from it.
Yeah, we can probably start actually taking like questions
Yes, we
like
can
fully
take
now because
full
we have less
Q&A.
than full Q&A. If you guys have any, it's about
Yep,
we have
we
like
got-
25 minutes.
We got 16 minutes.
16? Oh, it's already past.
We've been doing Q&A throughout this whole thing though. so
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys want to talk
But
about
now direct Q&A nonstop. I want to hear some good questions.
How do you narrate failure? So they hit that one, or even if they just miss whatever the roll is, and say, oh, you fucked up, you failed it, move on.
How do you narrate failure?
Narrate failure.
Well, it depends on what they're failing. But failure doesn't always mean the absolute worst all the time. Because like if it's like let's say their first nat 1, you don't have to be like, all right, you trip, fall down the cliff, and you die. It's more like if they're trying to lift a heavy wagon that has tipped over because the wheel fell off, and they're trying to roll in athletics, they roll a natural 1. And then you kind of like, you pull a muscle in your bicep a little, you're like, oh, okay, not gonna try that again.
Maybe the wizard shouldn't have tried picking up the
Maybe the wizard shouldn't have tried picking up the wagon. But you narrate failure, it all just depends, it's nuance. So, depending on what it is, failure is a definite option. It's on the table, because it can happen.
Do you have a specific example that you want to mention?
It's not exactly like critical failures, but like if it's something in combat where their AC is 14 and you roll a 12.
Oh,
It's like how do you insane?
I like-
you missed, or oh, they.
A lot of times it's like they parried, they definitely parried it, or you hit their armor and it bounced off.
People want to narrate it and say the arm comes. Many people think about, oh, you dodged it. It's like, well, somebody, like the barbarian isn't dodging an attack. It's just that they can take the hit.
I really like to use it on like a scale, like the closer you get to the AC, the closer the hit actually was to going through. So like if you rolled a 2, yeah, you swing wildly.
yeah, you wild miss.
Your sword, you stuck it in the dirt. But if you missed their AC by 1, you know, it could be, you were like, the blade was about to strike true and at the last minute, you know, they turned and it bounced off their armor or, you know.
And that could also work for immersion. That's a really good point, because then you don't have to tell them what the AC is, and you just by the way that you describe it, they know how close they were to hitting. It's like you feel like the sword was going to connect, but then it just barely missed, or it just tinged right off the armor. And then if they roll higher and then you narrate the hit, then they know, oh, okay, I have an idea where the AC is and where it isn't.
I feel like this also goes both ways too. Like for instance, players themselves narrating when they're doing attacks. I'm really bad at this, honestly.
I'm also bad at it too.
I still struggle. They're like, you do the finishing blow, and I'm like,
I punch him really hard.
I
Punch
didn't
him
think about
right,
this.
right in his dumb face.
It can be difficult.
I saw a hand up over here.
So this one, a lot of names can probably relate to. How do you like to do travel? Because I have tried everything to make it interesting and engaging. Outside of just like rolling dice and trying to capture some day and stuff, do you have any like recommendations or anything?
It depends on your players, but if
Yeah.
your players really like travel and they want to see the travel more, then you have to start going in depth with the travel.
Yeah, it can be a very good moment to roleplay the characters, to have them like interact and talk, especially if they have an NPC to talk to that's going along the path with them. But yeah, I mean, not every player, not every party wants to be bothered with traveling or even the rules of travel.
It just
And
depends.
so it's just something that becomes almost like a hand wave. So you, like I said, it's kind of, I feel it sounds like you've probably already done that.
Kind of. The campaign that is for specifically is just a super continent, so travel and exploration takes into the setting itself.
Yeah.
And my players like that, but I want to try and like just make it more interesting, or instead of just an hour rolling a d20 or whatever, figure something out.
Instead of random encounters, plan out an encounter. Like fully plan out a small side story that happens on this travel point.
Yeah.
Give them something to chew on.
Yeah,
And
not
you
even,
part
it
of
doesn't
their
have to be like a
backstory.
fight either. It could be just, you know.
It could be something part of their backstory too, if you want to throw that in there as well.
Yeah,
100%.
sometimes the DMs for me too have like given us to ask if it's something we want to do. Say like if I wanted to craft something or I wanted to like make something, it's be like, oh, I'm gonna like. I think I've had it before where I've tried to increase my stats that way, but this was in a different kind of like game. This wasn't like traditional D&D.
Yeah.
Just stuff to do.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
Well, the best way is talk with him about stuff that can happen with your character. Like, knowing that his storytelling is amazing. Like, find something that he is talking about and latch onto it and figure out like if that's right for your character or not. Like, really think in the mind of your character.
Yeah.
And find like things that they would really want to gravitate towards, and then that's something that can broaden their story. Like, let's say you were a fighter and you wanted to maybe multi-class into like a monk or something, and you wanted to, you ask like, hey, is there any monasteries anywhere nearby with some martial artists where I can train so I can learn to become a monk? And then that you can go on a whole arc of just like you're a fighter, but then now you also want to have that Zen moment of being like a monk, but also being able to defend yourself and move faster.
Yeah, I think a good base starting point for interacting with the world and the story is just talk to the people, the NPCs. Just talk to people, and get information, because a lot of what is a role doesn't have to be a role if you just talk to the right person, and it can change the way the game is played, because now you're not rolling for everything. Now you're like, oh, let's go gather information, instead of saying, okay, roll for gathering information. It's like, I'm gonna go talk to the barkeep, and I want to see what he knows.
Yeah, like that.
So we have a hand here, and then I'll get you in just a second.
For Mongo, he's a barbarian. I made him with a speech impediment, but he's actually got a pretty high intelligence. And he's pissed off all the time because he's got an 18 charisma. But it made him really want to know. And I got really bored of playing it. So what I did is I went, okay, let's make more backstory. Okay, Mongo really likes candy. He doesn't drink because, he's, when you drink, you're slow.
Yeah.
He drinks milk. Now you're strong. And he writes romance fiction.
That's amazing.
This character just gets better every time.
This is sounding like Okir. I'm loving this.
So, of course, he's not going to let anybody know he writes romance fiction, but somebody's going to find out. It's D&D.
It's also a good story.
I think that's another thing is like, if you have a secret to your character, like, you can't keep it a secret. It's got to be revealed at some point, because there's no point in keeping it to yourself. Like, the other players got to know at some point.
It does nothing fully keeping the secret for like the whole campaign, and just like afterwards be like, by the way, I was keeping this secret the whole time. It's like, wow.
That would have been cool for.
Yeah.
Would have been cool if you would have said something about it.
Like, slowly bring out the whole romance fiction, just to be like, hey, I wrote something. What do you
Or just
Or-
like they find the book and they're like, wow, this is really well written.
Yeah, wonder who could have wrote that.
You're like, yeah,
Certainly not
Right.
Mongo.
No, I mean,
That got me more engaged in the character.
Yeah.
And what do you guys do when you just find yourself like, man, this is not what I wanted? How do you get that engagement?
It's definitely like finding new backstory things that you can integrate in, just like what you did, but also doing like drastic changes of character just to mix it up. I mean, it's a very explosive way, but it also
Right. Well, I mean, you could communicate with your DM like, oh, what happened if say something happened and my character's alignment shifted because something, and it could be like a temporary thing, but then it gives you a whole new avenue of playing the character because now maybe Mondo isn't so happy-go-lucky, maybe he's a bit fiercer and more savage,
And it's something the party has to deal with, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like where did this new Mondo come from? And and then that's a whole new way to play and a new story you can go on because it's like, can we get Mondo back to the way he was because we liked him before, or do we like the new Mondo?
But yeah, a lot of the answers is mainly communication.
Yeah.
I mostly play 5e, and it's a lot about managing resources for the players. What suggestions do you have that might, outside of combat, that would, force players to chew through some of their resources?
A lot of puzzles that require certain spells in order for them to get past it.
Yeah, certain spells or certain abilities or a certain way you have to do it.
Or give them certain situations where especially face characters have to use their charm spells or their suggestions or their charm friends and all that stuff.
Yeah, and it's also a useful tool because it gives the players, the ability to shine at what they're good at. Like you said, giving the face players an opportunity to use their charm, but then at the same time you can also use your athletic characters, give them a reason to use their athletic skills. And then, for them, the penalty, a penalty for failure would be losing hit points or something along those lines. Because for most melee-based characters, their only resources is their HP and then maybe some extra thing that they have if they're a battle master or whatever. I think we
got 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
I think we got time for one more question. One more, uno más.
But yeah,
Right in the back.
5th edition is very resource management-y. I agree.
When we play, I'll periodically follow the rule of cool
I
and,
love that rule.
and let my players do something cool. But in my experience, when they get to do something cool, they want to keep doing it. And so, what's a good way to kind of steer them from doing the same thing over and over when the
I think
circumstance might not call for it?
usually from the start, it's this isn't selling normally you can't do this, but I'm gonna allow it because it's cool. Just being upfront with them, so they understand that normally you wouldn't do it, but they're gonna do it because it's cool, and obviously they're gonna try to take advantage of that, right? Because they want to do it more. So you just have to be very, very selective of when you do it. And maybe sometimes it would be cool to do that, but sometimes you just gotta say no. Yeah, I get it would be cool, but I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna allow that.
Yeah, and challenge your players. If you're gonna do rule of cool, if they want to try to solve the problem the exact same way they solved the problem before, be like, it's not going to be as effective this time. You got to be more creative.
Yeah.
Find me something bonkers. Go crazy. Really think about it.
Yeah, I think rule of cool is really cool to use, really good to use in climactic moments. When the rules are less important because something big important is happening. But I wouldn't rule of cool just some small bar fight or whatever.
Yeah, be very straightforward with what you want, and like Solar was saying, communicate with them, and just make sure they know that it's this isn't going to be an every time thing. This is going to be a once a few times thing. So if you want to use that now, sure, but
Next time it won't be
it's
anything.
we got to space this out. Can't be always rule of cool. Then it's not really a game. It's just you say it and it happens. We're just talking at each other at that point. So.
Or maybe just be like, are you sure you want to do that?
You allowed to do that?
I do that all the time.
That's just adding the doubt to the mystery.
Yeah, just making them
because they
think
can making your characters second guess whether they want to.
He's like, sure you want to do that? I'm like,
Maybe.
what?
I don't know if I want to do that now.
Listen, if you're role playing a character who has no thoughts in their head, every time you ask, "Are you sure you want to do that?" Yes. Yes. Are you sure? Absolutely.
Yes.
And then
How do you think about it?
how you can always get people to not guess your plot lines. You just say the same thing for everything. You just go, "That's an interesting theory."
Oh,
That's my favorite
Yeah,
thing
he
to
does
say.
that. He does
Because
that.
they'll say like, oh, I bet this is gonna happen. Ah, that's an interesting theory.
Don't mix it up. Just say the exact same
That's
thing.
you find something you say it for everything, and then they know they're none the wiser. That way you can never mess it up. But unfortunately, that's all the time we have. I appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you so much. For our third panel at LA Comic-Con, we will be back for a fourth for sure. Maybe we'll talk about world building. I think that might be a really cool one.
that'd be a good one for next time.
But yeah, there are 20 sides to every story. Come and be a part of ours. Thank you. And if you'd like to, you can follow us on Twitch at Smoking Dragons. It's all, the one word, and it's all spelled correctly. Lucky us, we got that. So yeah, go follow us there, or watch us on YouTube, and consider supporting us on Patreon, where you can watch, a story about 4 children trying to be the very best like no one ever was.